Another successful landing. Greetings! How are you doing this fine evening? It's going to be colder. It's just going to be ripping cold in 72 hours. So I have to go up to my farm tomorrow because it'll be the last good day's weather. I'd like to give... Too bad I can't take this video and transport it back in time about 30 years ago to when I was 20 years old. Geez, am I 50 years old now? Yes, I am. Man, that sucks. I have to make a video of the truth. I wish this could get back to myself 30 years ago. But I hope other people can take use of it. I do have a significantly high percentage of younger watchers. I don't know what younger would be, like 40 years or younger. And unfortunately, young people suffer a whole lot of arrogance. They think they're invincible. It's kind of like that whole thing about there are old drivers and bold drivers, but there's no old, bold drivers. I see people like... I was actually on the road and we were in stop traffic, and there's a guy that blew between the middle of the lanes. And I'm not exaggerating. He blew through the lanes. Someone could just have opened up the car door and it all would have ended right there. He was going at least like 110 miles an hour between the lanes. That's, of course, stupidity, adrenaline, and youth that thinks it's invincible, unfortunately. I used to ride motorcycles. I know about stuff like that. However, I never did anything like that. I like to talk about the truth. And it doesn't have to be young people. Some older people don't know this. A lot, actually, don't know these things. And I like to go down to laundry lists. And I think a few of these are incredibly important. And I love talking about things that other people don't talk about. Something I realized at an incredibly young age, so I didn't need to send this back in time to myself when I was young, is that your teachers are fools. It doesn't matter if you're going to prestigious university, you're going to college, you're in high school. These people are not really... And I know there's a few good teachers. And by a few, I mean maybe 1 out of 10,000 is a good teacher. And that's really stretching at 1 in 10,000. These people are about one thing only: getting you to have decent test scores, which is about memorization, to make the school look good, and about producing well-heeled robots, you know, to work in factories and work a menial job where you're just barely able to squeak by, barely able to pay the bills. You know, you just like work yourself into the dirt before you like drop dead and collapse. And they don't teach you about money. They don't. I wish they had taught me about that. What's most important, you of course can't take it with you after you leave this life. It's not about money. It never is, unless of course you're a greedy materialist. Money is about having time. I have no time myself. I haven't been to my cabin, you know, on my farm in, oh gosh, several months, and that sucks. There's been a lot of good weather, and there's like one good day left. That's tomorrow before it gets brutally cold, so it's about time. Most people should not go to college. A lot of peer pressure and ignorant parents that think you need to get a good career, you need to go to college. No, you don't. You don't. That's absolutely not the case at all. Unless you want to become a doctor, a lawyer, or a mechanical engineer, or a nurse is a good reason to go. However, I don't think you actually have to go to college to go to nursing school. There's certain college level things you do need to take. But college is a waste. These are money pits. Don't have that as a goal in life. I know a whole lot of extremely well-educated idiots that are working dead-end jobs. I mean, the worst type of dead-end job imaginable that have prestigious degrees. Don't go to college. You don't need to. About 95% of people that go to college should never have ever thought about going to college. Public school is pure evil, one of the worst things wreaked upon me, even way worse than, you know, the horror of taking care of my dying wife from a giant brain tumor for 10 years. Way worse than that was being sent to public school. These are evil, brutal places. You know that old game Whack-A-Mole where the mole rises up and you hit it with a mallet? Anybody that actually sticks out as an intelligent or a different type of person, which I certainly was, you know, don't fit in with the common rabble. You know, they play whack-a-mole. They just beat you down. It's all about, there's a name for this in Dutch. I forget what it is. The Dutch have a word for someone that really wants to work hard. And there's a chef in Holland, I believe, and they got a name for it. When you work really hard and you want your business to succeed and you work like twice as hard as every other chef in town, for example, and everybody hates this guy, essentially, even though they love his food. He's like the best chef, his restaurant's real successful. It's really looked down upon to want to elevate yourself. And schools do that, too. There's a specific word for it in Dutch. I'm sorry, I don't know what the word is, but schools do that to kids. They just want to pigeonhole you and turn you into a mindless, brainless automaton. Go home and memorize chapters 5 through 11. You should not respect your teachers, and I'm not saying be disorderly or, throw spitballs at your teacher. I'm saying your teachers really, there's only 1 in 10,000 that deserves any respect. You should not put, your worries, because I know so many kids, especially certain countries, it's way bad. Unless you get like all AAAs, you can't have a halfway decent job in certain countries. I won't name those countries. And they get really depressed and upset if they don't memorize all this useless garbage and become a robot. And American kids suffer to that certain percent, and they shouldn't. It's absolute garbage. That doesn't mean you should slack off or, roll your eyes at learning. Learning is incredibly important, but schools burn learning out of children. And they don't teach about money. They're trying to teach you to fill your head to where you can work a dead-end job so you can make just enough money to barely frigging survive. Skills and a sharp mind are worth 100, maybe 1,000 times more than an educated idiot with a degree. If you haven't learned that now, you really, really need to learn it. All governments and all corporations, some are worse than others obviously, are pure effing evil. They have no soul, and they will drop a brown sloppy mess right on your guts, because at a drop of a hat, you are nothing to them. You're just another... I never liked Facebook, for example. I call it Fake Book, which is more accurate. They just laid off 11,000 workers, which... I despise that company. I despise most companies. But all these things do is they destroy your life, and you're about feeding the beast. If you could find a way to work for yourself and be your own boss, that's actually quite hard, because you have to crack the whip almost literally on yourself, to make ends meet. And I have not greatly succeeded in that. I have several jobs. I do work 7 days a week, but I don't have any, mental midget breathing down my neck at some dead-end job where I have to wear a 3-piece suit and, work extra hard, just barely enough to pay the bills and survive. That's not a life worth living. Please, unlike me, I'm speaking to myself 30 years ago, not that I can, but I wished I could, learn the difference between money and assets. And please remember, as society is collapsing, it's most important for you to remember this. It's really important for you to remember this. It goes like this: plastic, paper, gold, lead. Decent times, everything's okay, society's okay. Plastic gets worse, goes to paper, which itself is inherently worthless. I know this fact. Fiat currency, yes, I do know that. Then it goes to gold and silver, and then it goes to lead. I forget who said this, but it's incredibly accurate. This piece of amber, by the way. Society is the thinnest crust that sits over top of the world's largest, most dangerous volcano. Anarchy is 7 meals away. Like if someone loses 7 or 9 meals, I forget which it is. Each person on Earth is like 7 to 9 meals away from total helter-skelter. Crazy, lip-flapping Three Stooges, brutal. You mix the Three Stooges with the movie Hellraiser. That's how far society... So the thinnest crust over the most dangerous volcano. And those people that laugh at... There are crazy preppers out there. Not that I watch the show. It's a show, I think on National Geographic, it's called Preppers. I've seen a couple of... Ridiculous. I mean, there are people that are just like bat poop loony. They've got like 1,000 Snicker bars in a go pack, and they've planned out the route to escape. It's good to be prepared, but these are really, really poor examples. Squirrels hoard away nuts for wintertime. Human beings need to be prepared. These days are actually treacherous for all of humanity. I mean, they really are. I don't care how poor you are, because I've only got, what have I got right now? I got like $4,100 to my name, $4,100. Doesn't matter how poor you are, how much money you got, you need to be able to rationalize putting away X amount of food twice a week or once a week. I've been doing that now for many years. Non-perishable stuff, the stuff that will last and last and last. Mountain House meals are great. They taste great. They last for 30 years. People say, those are not very healthy for you. Who cares? Survival is not about, eating the fresh fruit and salad buffet at, I don't know, some hoity-toity, soy latte sipping joint. It's about survival. Something very important, and this gets back to college and school. What is worth more? Having a bunch of rich and or influential friends, or a double PhD from Harvard? This is a serious question. I read every comment. What do you think is worth more, a double PhD from Harvard, or having rich and influential friends that actually care about you and like you? If you don't know the answer to that, then you're really on the wrong page. It's not what you know, but it's who you know. The big lesson that schools and colleges don't teach, and this is an important one, there's really two types of people. The third one is a subset of number two. Only two types. I wish I had my wallet here. I got like $40 in my wallet. There's a person that gets a buck, and of course teenagers and 20-something and 30-somethings are very impulsive. The people get a buck and they'll think about what it is they really want and what to spend it on. That's like what? 95% of people? And the people that actually make it happen, and I certainly don't claim to be one of them, are the people that understand delayed gratification. They're people that will get that same buck and think about how to put that buck to work. Person number one that gets the buck in the hand and they want to know, they're immediately thinking about how to get rid of it to get some sort of little stupid gadget, that as soon as they buy it isn't like worth nothing after 2 years. Electronic gadgets especially, right? Third person, which is the best, are those that get a buck and will put it to work and enjoy what it is they've bought to put it to work. I'll give you a couple examples. Okay, just two examples. I don't have much. I have a decent amount of land. I enjoy my land. I'm going to my land tomorrow. I enjoy it. It's good for me. It's good for my health. It's good for a lot of different things for me. I sold off 2.5 acres of lumber off my one piece of land like 2.5 years ago. I bought myself another sewing machine. I basically reinvested it. I got 4 sewing machines here. You can see this one over here. This is my new beast. And I've got 3 others over here. So I have 4 super heavy-duty industrial sewing machines. I can make anything for myself I want. Actually I got into leatherwork decades ago because I saw the crappy Southeast Asian junk. I know what real leather is like, what real leather is. And it's like, this is garbage. If you typed in messenger bag on eBay and say, money's no object, not that I ever had that issue, you couldn't find anything that, most expensive thing. It was still made out of crap leather. I'm not trying to show you this as an example. I just happen to have it back here. By the way, anybody that wants this can get it from me. I made this sucker yesterday. It's a buffalo bag. It's got alligator on the front flap. I got the shoulder strap inside here. I pull it up. And I can make stuff. And I have one of these for myself. It's a little bit different than this with, this really nice solid brass box. It's nice. I enjoy that. And they make money. I'm able to make things and sell things and fix things and do things. Skills are incredibly important, especially if it's something you like doing. Of course, there is a point to where you can take something that you like doing and you put it to work and it starts to become slightly miserable because you're just, it's become a job, but it hasn't burned me out at all. Sometimes it does because I'm just so pressed for time all the time. But those who spend a buck and put it to work and enjoy what they, have spent it on, because the land pays. All my land is worth a good deal more than I paid for it. I sold everything that's not glued down to buy land. I have a magical skill on finding land, almost literally. I know what good land is. I know all the attributes to look at, just about instantaneously, really. And my sewing machines, those are just a couple. Also, too, the raw materials, I've got like about 150 rolls of leather in this house. Those raw materials, I can make just about anything and sell it, or make things for myself. I even make Christmas gifts out of the leatherwork stuff that I do. There's ultimately about 5 different types of people. So anyway, those are the 2 different types of people in the world. People that think about what to spend a buck on, and those that think about, not consciously, but delayed gratification, what to spend it on so that they can make money. Man, if you don't learn that lesson, you are really screwing up. That's a lesson I wished I'd learned much, much earlier in life. I had an incredibly sharp mind at an incredibly young age. I knew all my teachers were fools, on and on and on and on and on. And, I discovered and understood some of the most rare and exotic and difficult and dense stuff that people have not penetrated intellectually for thousands of years, and so I have that gift. But that didn't pay the bills. It doesn't keep the lights on, doesn't pay property taxes, house insurance, car insurance, gas, water, electric, phone, cable, stuff. It's just unending BS. It really, really is. If the poo hits the fan, I can take this machine. It's called a patcher machine. Not that I plan on doing that. And I could stick it in the back of a camper and travel around to conventions, and I could get to see the country. I wouldn't have hardly any money, but I could get to see and travel around the country and make money because I have the skills and I have the equipment. This thing is all industrial. I sold leatherwork to actually buy this sucker. As I kind of wheel it over here, it's called a patcher. It is a $3,000 machine, but I used these machines to sew leatherwork, and I saved money, and I bought this machine, which I needed because it does things that other machines won't do, such as the presser foot will rotate 360 degrees. Anyway, enough of that. 5 different types of people ultimately in this life, as far as what they have and what they're born with. Some people have 2 of these, which is quite rare. 3 is incredibly rare. People that have skills, people that have charisma and influence, people that have beauty, people that have strength, and people that have intellect and or wisdom. And I certainly don't confuse episteme and gnosis, i.e. empirical knowledge, and wisdom. The most evil people on earth are highly intelligent yet unwise. And this, of course, makes them evil. When you have someone that's manipulative and has charisma and is highly intelligent but no wisdom, you are talking about someone that has a great source of potential great evil. Here's something really, really important. All the education that you get, I have a PhD from Harvard. Good for you. Who cares? You're still a fool. You're an educated fool. These really, really intelligent people from the 16th century back to the Dark Ages have produced incredible works. Just incredible. I mean, they're so dense that they'll blow the cork out of your mind because you can't understand it. It's deep, it's wise. I've told people, like, the best thing your child could read should be like the Pitaphesian, the Enneads of Plotinus. Unfortunately, there's no perfect translation, not even close. I will be translating that as long as I don't kick the bucket. I'm working on starting to translate that, but I still have other works I have to write. Your child and yourself are far, far, far of all the garbage that you're told to memorize and whatnot. You're far better off to read 10 epic books at least twice. And by the way, I've said this 1,000 times. I can always tell what people know by the stuff they recommend you read. It's like, what do you think is the most intelligent thing? Not your favorite book, like science fiction, mystery, romance. I'm just the most intelligent thing you've ever read, excuse me. And I can always tell what they know and what they don't know by the stuff they recommend you read. So you're far better off as a child or a growing person or even as an adult to read basically 10 epic books. And by the way, I have a list in my description of epic books, than a mountain of trash in high school and college. Far better off. Far, far better off. And please, God, if you have a child, homeschool them. I know some people, I can't afford to do that. I got to work. Who cares? Find a way to do it. Your kid needs to learn how to think. Critical thinking is divine. Memorization is profane. Some of those really smart birds, African gray birds, they'll teach you big long sentences. Sometimes they'll teach them to sing, Polly, what's a cracker? They teach it how to sing, Old MacDonald had a farm. It'll actually sing like 3 lines long. Great, memorization. You'll be a stupid parrot. I love birds, by the way, and I'm not insulting birds. Very intelligent, great for memorization. Bird brain is a misnomer since birds are so intelligent. But memorization, point being, is that memorization is profane. Learning how to think, spontaneous synthesis, and creativity is divine. Unfortunately, not only schools do not teach this, they take what their little is within a child or a young adult and they burn it out like snuffing out a cigarette. What little there is there, instead of kindling it, they snuff it out. These schools are not there to give your child the ability to think. Society, go look at Rockefeller history and education, look it up. They don't want you or your child to learn how to think, to question authority. It's like, hey, that's BS because boom, 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 boom. They hate that. They don't like critical thinkers. This is the reason why schools and colleges are pure evil. Why do you think doctors are the second leading cause of death, iatrogenic death? Why do you think they are? A doctor. I hear that in a lot of countries they don't take the Hippocratic Oath anymore. Not only that, they're pushers for pharmaceuticals. They're not there to actually help you. It's like, sir, you're a little too fat. You need to lose weight and exercise more. I'm not going to prescribe you any pills. Oh, I want pills. I don't want to exercise, lose weight. I've never said that. Yeah, I know you're thinking of me, right, because I'm too fat. I know that. Everybody wants a pill. They've gotten addicted to thinking there's a pill answer to every problem. There's a problem. There's a pill for that. It's got 10 million side effects. It'll make your hot dog limp and prematurely kill you, but it'll fix it. Teach your kids and or yourself how to think. Anyway, these are the lessons that, some of these I knew at a very young age. The lessons I'd like to go back 30 years and tell myself, maybe a little more than 30 years, tell myself about. I'd be way better off. I wouldn't be working 7 days a week, but at least I work for myself. I'm not working under some mental midget cracking a whip. I'm never going to work for anybody else again. I don't care if it makes me homeless. Go ahead and destroy me. I don't care. I'm never, ain't going to happen. I'm 50 years old. It's not going to happen ever again. I'm not going to work for nobody. I know that was incorrect English, what I just said. I ain't going to work for nobody, never, no. I'm trying to emphasize a point here. So, please, if you haven't learned some of these skills, please do. I beg of you emphatically, learn these things. Learn about delayed gratification. Teach your kid not to think about what to spend his buck on, but how to put the buck to work. Everybody, young person, should be thinking about their dollars like little people, little pawns on the chessboard. It's like, you go do this, you go cut some wood, you bring some water, you do the laundry. You were not taught that stuff in high school or college or junior high. You just weren't. Maybe 1 out of 1,000,000 of you were. So these are the life lessons I wished I were taught. I was taught, was not. Please realize that schools are evil. They are not there to give you an education. It is far better for you to read 10 epic books twice than a mountain of memorization and trash. Not being a parrot for the system. Rock, I'm a good worker. Rock, I pay taxes. Rock, rock. Like what 10 books? I've got a list of that below. There's more than 10, or there's roughly 10. Petaphesian, Theoria Philosophiae Naturae. That's too difficult for most people to read. The Enneads, Syrianus, Proclus, Iamblichus, some sections of Plato, which were not written by Plato, like the Timaeus, Parmenides, Republic, some other things. People that had sharp minds in the Middle Ages and Dark Ages, they did not memorize a bunch of garbage. They had incredibly sharp minds, as is evidenced by the works that they wrote. Not because they filled their head full of enormous amounts of irrelevant empirical data. You can get all that crap on a Google search. You don't need to be memorizing that garbage, pissing your life away on what you could find. Hey Siri, what's the capital of North Dakota? Who cares? Oh, anyway, hope you found this video useful. I like to rant on these subjects and think back on all the horrors that I've seen in life and all the demons that want to lead you astray. And this is the same demons that you encounter. They want to ruin your life, wreck it, derail it, destroy it. Give them no quarter. Ignore them, go around them, do whatever it takes. Just avoid them and ignore them. The world and the cosmos at large is full of a bunch of demons. They don't want a hand out of the pit that they're in. Okay? Another great lesson. They want to pull you in, like, oh my God, I haven't done anything. They reach their hand up, and you're like, oh, okay, I'll give you a hand out, and you reach your hand in. And instead of wanting out, they want to drag you down to the bottom of the pit where you can be miserable with them. Communism, socialism. It's not about elevating like a high tide raises all ships. No, 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 it's not about that. They want to drag you down into the pit with them. There's another great lesson to remember. Thanks so much for watching.